more guys that can be between Zach and DeRozan and Caruso. Those guys can get a lot of buckets, and they're also they kind of know what they are. Like the Pelicans are still very young to me, whereas like Chicago, I'm like they got a lot of guys that've been in this league a long time. Without Chris Middleton, Milwaukee could be in some trouble here.
I agree, and it could be a much more serious injury than Devin Booker.
So it is.
He sprained his MCL on his left knee in last night's loss to the Bulls. So he's scheduled for an MRI today. That'll determine the severity and give the team a timeline for his possible return. Game 3 is tomorrow in Chicago. The Bucks are favored by 1.5 according to Fox Bet, but this could be a massive deal if he misses significant time.
Yeah, and I just think the construct of Phoenix is built to overcome. Because
I think they can overcome it for the first round series. Like the Pelicans had a nice night the other night, but it's a long series, and I think the Suns have more. Milwaukee, I don't know if they can do it without Chris Middleton. Maybe in this first round, but moving on, I don't believe they will. And then there are also reports that Ben Simmons might be ready to make a debut. Game 4, Nets are down 2-0. Look, even if he does come back, the idea that Ben Simmons coming back and playing a few minutes a quarter is going to make this massive difference for someone who hasn't played basketball in an entire year and is coming off of a back injury. I mean, guys, like, what are we talking about here? This is not a healthy Ben Simmons who's just hopping into a situation that he already has chemistry. What are we talking about?
Also, you can watch a series sometimes. It's like if you ever watch a football game, and it's when these teams that have never played Alabama come and play Alabama, like a Cincinnati. A few years Washington. And you can watch the first 2 series and you see how hard it is for those teams to get 3 yards. And you're like, oh, this is not going to change throughout the game. Doesn't mean they can't score. But when you watch Boston's defense against Brooklyn's offense, they're going to make Brooklyn work so hard. That's not going to change. And so what's going to happen is I'm sure Brooklyn will go home and win a game because the officials – Boston's playing 90s physical.
Swept.
Yeah, and the officials in Boston are letting them play a very physical brand. They'll get the whistle at home. So they'll get the whistle at home. They'll win a game. But you can tell in the Boston-Brooklyn series that Boston's defense is giving a marginally coached Nets team that doesn't necessarily want to be coached fits. That will not change in this series. Now, KD may make more shots, more contested shots, but Boston is going to contest such a high percentage of Brooklyn shots that will never change in the series. And I think the series is over. I think Brooklyn wins a game at home. I think the series is over.
Yeah, I also think it's wildly unfair to put that kind of pressure on Ben Simmons coming in after not playing for a year to a brand new situation coming off of an injury that he's supposed to make that kind of impact in this series. So Villanova's head coach Jay Wright announced his retirement last night after 21 seasons leading the Wildcats. He took over at Villanova in 2001 after spending 7 seasons as the head coach of Hofstra. He reached the Final Four and won the national championship in 2016 and 2018. He did reach the Final Four this season, but lost to Kansas, who won the championship. He said in a statement that he had the opportunity to live out a professional dream as the head coach of Villanova during his 28 total seasons as a head coach. He compiled a 642-82 record with 10 regular season conference titles, 7 conference tournament championships, and 2 national titles. He is also in the Naismith Hall of Fame.
I was lucky enough when I was a fledgling sportscaster 30 years ago. He was the assistant at UNLV under the late Rolly Massimino. And there are people you meet in your life and instantly know they're going to be great. And I met Jay Wright when he was 21 years old. He'd just been married. They were having their first baby. And he was this young coach. He was the number 2 coach on the staff. Dignity, discipline, decency, you knew instantly. You'd walk out of rooms with him and he looked like George Clooney. And before I knew who George Clooney was. And you would know every time you'd see him at a lunch or every single time you'd interview him, you knew you were looking at a superstar coach. There was no question. It's one of the most first interpretations matter. And Jay was we used to talk about it when we covered him. We're like, that guy's going to be a Dean Smith. He's going to be one of the greats.
Yeah, he's had an incredible career. He has he owes the game nothing at all. He's going to remain at Villanova as a special assistant to the president, involving in fundraising and advising, and probably a few recruiting nudges as well.
He loves that school. That's his job. He's not going to the NBA. He loves that school.
Yeah, no, I don't. Initially, I was like, is it an NBA thing? But I don't believe that it is. I mean, like I said, he has nothing else to prove to anyone. He had an unbelievable Hall of Fame career. And guess what? More and more in life, people are just deciding like, hey, I have my legacy. I don't need to scratch and claw and spend a couple extra years away from my family or, away from my kids or my grandkids to prove anything else. Maybe I just want to go travel and chill a little bit and spend a little more time at home, go fishing, whatever it is you're into. I think, honestly, obviously sports in college is changing a lot with NIL and the transfer portal, and, times are changing, and it's a big adjustment for some people, and it's changed how you have to recruit and lots of other things. But also, I do believe, we're seeing this in the workforce a lot. A lot of people retired because of the pandemic. I think the pandemic kind of changed a lot of people's perspective on things.
No.
Like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to work this many hours a week. I could cut back a little bit and enjoy my life a little bit. Maybe I don't need this much money or this much more to do.
Yeah, it took people off the treadmill. Sometimes you get caught on the treadmill in life, and you don't give yourself time. Forget everybody else. You just don't give yourself an hour or two a day to sit, play a crossword puzzle, think, relax.
And that's not our American society.
That's right.
That's not our
not
way.
What we do.
If you do that, you start to feel guilty that you're not doing something else that you're supposed to be working on. So, I don't know why he retired, but I do think that's changed the perspective for a lot of people.
Good stuff, Joy. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Live
I was thinking about this. 3 years ago, Brooklyn, Katie, Kyrie, Clippers, Paul George, Kawhi, Lakers get LeBron and eventually get AD. 3 years ago, 3 teams, Clippers, Brooklyn, Lakers. They got the great tandems, stars with power and influence. Today, all 3 are a mess. Lakers roster, awful, unfixable. They gave LeBron power. Give me Westbrook. Shouldn't have done that. Clippers are totally beholden to Kawhi Leonard's odd personality. And Brooklyn said, we got good chemistry here. Let's take KD, Kyrie, get a new coach, blow stuff up. Really top-heavy, no second gear, not really a plan. The 2022 playoffs are a testament to coachability and chemistry and coaching and defense, because good basketball is about cohesion, not power. Sorry, guys. Sorry, LeBron. Sorry, KD, Kyrie. Sorry, Kawhi. The minute franchises are completely beholden to players, you got a problem. I'm not saying the NBA is not a players' league. I've never had a problem with that. It is a players' league. Players that are coachable and players that are committed and players who are willing to be part of a system. Draymond and Steph and Clay. That franchise is not about Steve Kerr. It's about them. But they're willing to be part of a collective and a cohesive unit and play together. Brooklyn, the Lakers, and the Clippers. Oh, the stars, all are a mess. And in each instance, the franchise bent too far to either the agent, the star, the stars. Look at them now. I don't think Brooklyn's fixable. I don't think the Lakers are fixable. I do think the Clippers, because they have a very strong coach and a great front office and a tremendous owner, I don't think the Clippers are broken, but they've been way too beholden to Kawhi Leonard. Come on, let's do some public stuff here. We are paying you this. It's okay to talk publicly. Give everybody a heads up. But you know what I mean? With great power comes great responsibility. LeBron's like, I didn't make it. That Westbrook thing wasn't me. You wanted all the power. You wanted to say, Clutch Sports and LeBron, you wanted all the power. You got to own it. You got to own it a little bit because it's not working. What's working is Phoenix and Golden State, and last night Chicago, and before that Milwaukee and Philadelphia. Philadelphia's got a powerful coach. It's got a powerful GM. It's got a powerful star. It is a collective. Hustler Turf is the brand lawn care professionals